Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is episode number 12 of Empire State of Baseball on what is also the final day of spring this year, June 20th, 2022.
Oh, it really is, isn't it?
Right? Could you believe we are on
Wow.
the last day of spring?
Damn. There's a lot of things I realized last minute today, including the fact that it was a holiday, and I was like, why like nobody answering my emails today, and I'm getting all these out of office at the holiday today. But also, wow, look at that last day of spring. Holy crap.
Unbelievable.
We've
I know
made
it is crazy that we're here already. I feel like this spring absolutely flew by. The month of May especially came and went. June itself now is in the final third of the month here. You guys, how about you guys? How you guys feeling as we start to shift towards the summer?
Feeling good. I feel like we start the week with like the same comment every time, but both baseball teams are still looking good. As we keep inching closer and closer to these two mini Subway series during the season, that'll give all of us probably take some years off our lives, and then God forbid if it's a Subway Series in the World Series, you can take a good 5 years off my life for that because it's just going to be incredibly stressful.
Hey, Thomas, how do I sound? 3, 2, 1. Testing.
You
1, 2.
sound better now.
All right. Yeah, my mic was unplugged. I knocked it out. I was so excited to get started.
Yeah,
because Joe isn't here today. Joe's not here.
Yeah, everyone. So this is Rich and this is Corey. They also talk. They would like to talk at times. And I'm excited for all of you to meet them on tonight's episode.
Yeah, it's like a whole different show. I feel like it's not Empire State of Baseball anymore right now without Mr. Joseph Puglisi here in the chat.
Yeah, it's very strange to see him not there or to at least not have a substitute. But hey, listen, I think we could run the triple play just fine with the three of us here. And speaking of which, new segment later tonight, we'll get into that more in a little bit. Obviously, Yanks and Mets still rolling here, still in first place in their respective divisions. The Yankees are off to a great start in their tough stretch that we covered last week on the show.
I was curious, when does that tough stretch start? Because I thought it was supposed to start, and then it didn't start. So is it? When do the hard teams show up?
It might have been yesterday. I don't know. I mean, the Yankees still outscored their division rival, the Blue Jays, by like a clean 10 runs. So I don't know, man. I guess we'll find out soon enough. I guess maybe Houston. Who knows? But Tampa, Yankees already have a lead on Tampa, so it's looking good.
Yeah, I mean, listen, guys. I mean, the Yankees start right now. I mean, Joe being the lone guy last week saying, forget about being close to 500, like Rich and I had at 11-9. Joe had them under 500 this stretch, and at 5-1. If Joe's prediction becomes true, something catastrophic happened. If me and Rich's prediction comes true, something really bad happened. So it's I think you're looking like the early winner now of that 20-game prediction.
Listen, I guess I just underestimated. I think what I say 13-7. I think that was my prediction, starting 5-1. I mean, listen, there's a long ways to go to this game tonight. It's only the fourth inning, and obviously the Rays are a good team, so we'll see what happens. But and again, 5-1 is pretty nice against those teams.
As crazy as it sounds, if the Yankees still come out with a split at the least against Houston and another series win against Tampa Bay here, I would be on the lookout for those teams they're going to face for those final 7 games of the stretch. You got to think the Yankees might be taxed. Their rotation is going to be through the wire with these great teams. I wouldn't be surprised if an Oakland or a Cleveland catches the Yankees off guard in the next 7 games following the Astros set. So, again, we don't know how this is going to go down, but so far, Tom's looking pretty good right now with his prediction at 13-7. Sorry, Joe.
Yeah, we're all sorry there. But
don't say things you don't mean.
You're right. I don't mean it.
Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, listen, the Yankees right now, you put them up against anybody and you have the confidence they're going to win. I mean, it was the 8th or 9th inning last night, and I'm looking on FanDuel, and I saw they were plus 750, only down a run. And I think it was the 9th inning, down a run, plus 750. I was like, you know what? I know what's going to happen here. Someone's going to get on base, and then someone like a Rizzo, like a Judge, like a Stanton, is going to come up and hit that big home run to give them the lead again. Maybe me betting for the Yankees is the only thing that's going to be their demise because they didn't end up winning that last game. But I'm not even joking. I have all the confidence in the world as the Yankees.
Don't you dare.
And
Don't
I'm not
do
even
it.
a Yankee fan, and I have all the confidence in the world that they're always going to go out and win every night now at this point, no matter who they're facing or who they're throwing out there on the mound.
Absolutely. And I think we're going to get into more, obviously, in the Bronx is burning. But
yeah, so I was going to say, Rich, you want me to take this this next little part here?
yeah,
Is that what you would
think,
like? Is that what you're trying to segment to?
We got this. Go for it.
All right. So, hopefully, you're all watching us live on Twitch. If you're not, you're watching us on the replay. Make sure you download the Twitch app. It's where you can watch us live. It's where you can take part in the live chat and get your, comments on the screen about how much you miss Joe. If you want the link to our Twitch channel, you can find it on our Twitter bio at ESB Podcast. That is at twitter.com. For those of you don't know how to find that either. I guess download also Twitter.
Yep, go get those apps.
I did throw out some flyers though. I put out some ads in the paper asking if anybody wanted to come down and step in for Joe. And for the most part, people are like, "You're a 3-man show, and you cut the weakest link, so you're all set, guys." So we're ready to go here. We're ready to get into it, and we start off our show with the Bronx is burning. And I feel like we got to rename this segment here, Tom, because I don't remember the last time the Bronx was actually burning here. The Yankees obviously playing exceptional ball, and
the Yankees are hot. Burning can be a good thing. They're on fire.
They are on fire. That's the best way to put it right now. And look, we mentioned now they're already 5-1 on this 20-game gauntlet. They still have some games coming up right now, winning 1-0 again early in the game, 1-0 versus the Rays. You got 3 more this series with the Rays, 3 total. 4 versus Houston, 3 versus Oakland. And then you got another random 1 versus Houston, followed by a 3-game set in Cleveland. This team's on fire right now. And there's no way. Looking at these, what is it now, 14 games remaining. I might go on a limb and say, F it, they're going to go 14 and not 14-0, but I'm going to say they're going to go at worst 10-4 down this stretch here. They're on fire.
Yeah, and that would actually overestimate of what Tom was thinking there. So hoping for the best. Now, in an effort to kind of nitpick this team, because again, nothing really crazy topical outside this team is doing very well. At this point, it's so hard to pick out the imperfections of this team. But one thing that I caught just as a fan is almost the inconsistency at the very top spot in the order. It just seems like Aaron is running out different people out there since the season started. We've seen Donaldson up in that number 1 spot, Rizzo up in that number 1 spot, Judge as of late grabbing some games, DJ LeMahieu, who was there for a while over those first couple of years with the Yanks, and he's kind of like back down to that 5-6 area to try to drive in more runs. Should the Yankees try to address that leadoff spot? And if it's not somebody on the outside, we can get into it more later with our trade bit. But internally, is there an option that the Yankees should just stick with in that leadoff spot?
So I think, what's the number one thing you guys want in a leadoff hitter, right? What's the thing everyone wants? You want them to get on base, right? So you look at the 2022 Yankees and you say, who gets on base the most? Number 1 is Aaron Judge. And I think, it's great to have him up there. Watching him hit solo home runs at the beginning of the game, while awesome, is a little disheartening. You want guys on base in front of Judge. So you say, if it's not Judge, who's the second with the Yankees' highest on-base percentage? And then you see Aaron Hicks, and you say, why the hell is Aaron Hicks second in Yankees on-base percentage? He can't be the leadoff hitter, so we skip him. Third on that list is DJ LeMahieu. I think it does have to be DJ. I like him, the idea of him down in the lineup to break up just some of the big-time sluggers, but as we've seen, Rizzo is someone who's willing to not just go for the home run, although he hit his 19th home run of the year today. He's not just there just to mash. I think he can be that breakup a little bit in that part of the lineup, and even guys like Glaber aren't just being aren't home run or nothing. I think it has to be DJ. I do also think any team benefits from having a at least stable top 2, 3, 4 guys who you just know, what kind of at-bats they're going to give you in front of you, the kind of protection you might get behind you. So I would like to see DJ in that leadoff spot moving forward.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, DJ, I mean, right now probably is the best candidate, but it's so tough to judge because you do want DJ. I think of DJ as an ideal 2-hitter personally, a guy, contact hitter, a guy who could drive in runs. If you go, again, purely based on base percentage, which is the hot stat now, you really don't want Judge for the same reasons you guys said. You want him to get guys in. And Rizzo right now, he's on such a tear too that I don't know if I want him leading off. I want him to get a chance with guys on. I think by default, it has to be DJ. I mean, if you go back old school now, you go back 10 plus years back, it would actually be Isaiah Kiner-Falefa is probably the leadoff hitter on this team because, granted, his on-base percentage is .320, so he's not in that upper 300s like some of the other guys. But he's hitting .273. He's got 10 stolen bases. He's the old school leadoff hitter. While he doesn't really translate in today's analytical game for who you want leading off, if you want to go old school and break the mold, it might maybe give Kiner-Falefa a shot. But I do like him batting right there at the bottom of the order, get some speed for the top.
Yeah,
you just said it.
I was gonna say the only problem with the IKF is he doesn't walk, and you also want your leadoff guy to draw a walk, so that really hurts him in that spot. What were you saying, Rich?
I honestly like the IKF in the leadoff spot as an option, and it's an option that the Yankees haven't toyed with yet. And yet he hasn't drawn his walks. But what have I always said, especially since Savage is in the Bronx? I love the idea of lengthening this lineup as much as you can. And Kiner-Falefa has shown a lot of flashes of just being a purebred contact hitter. He's come up in the clutch. I would like to see him with a few more bats and see what he can do at that leadoff spot. Yeah, I think a bit old school. I like it. Guy who can steal you some bases, a smaller contact guy, your typical guy in that position. I think that 2-3-4 of Judge, Rizzo, and Stanton should not be broken up. I think that's a perfect 2-3-4.
Yep.
Follow up with a Mayhew, a Torres, a Donaldson. I think you're really lengthening the lineup when you move a guy who's been primarily hitting 8th or 9th in the batting order to the top spot. Now, should he be the go-to, the guy for the rest of the season? I don't know, but I feel like it's worth experimenting with a guy like Kiner-Falefa. I like to see the Yankees try to bring in somebody that can profile more as a leadoff hitter. But if not, internally, I like IKF. I think giving him a shot up there, I think would be a run, and I want to see that. I would love to see IKF lead off.
He just doesn't get on base. Like, you need a guy to get on base. He's 7th on the with the normal starters on the team and getting on base. You can't have that in your leadoff hitter. Yes, I know he hits for a higher average, but he doesn't walk, and you need guys there. Honestly, I would rather Aaron Hicks leading off, giving you the switch here on the top of the lineup, a guy that will draw walks, will work the count over IKF. Listen, IKF is what he is. He's someone. He has a contact bat with 0 pop. And I don't know if we're going to get into it a lot later, but he also is someone who he might not be the long-term solution for this team as they march towards October. If I had to rank it, I would say DJ first, but although we laugh at it, I would probably put Hicks second as a option as leadoff, just because of his ability to get on base and work the count.
Yeah, I just find it funny because most people want Hicks off the team, and Tom's advocating for him to bat leadoff. I mean, the guy, in theory, when you re-signed him several years ago, he was the guy you thought was going to be that leadoff hitter. Then he kept getting hurt. Now he's actually healthy, and he's just not producing the way you'd like to see him play out there. But ideally, that's the type of guy you would also like leading off. Guy who's got some speed, who's a switch hitter. Center fielder going back used to always be a possible leadoff spot. You get those speedy center fielders out there. I'm thinking like Juan Pierre back in the day. Great leadoff hitter. But then I look at the other side of town with Mets, and we're talking about the prototypical leadoff hitter from back in the day. I mean, Juan Pierre, perfect example. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa kind of mirroring that. And then you look at Brandon Nimmo, who is the perfect example of what the modern day leadoff hitter is right now. And he's a guy with 0 stolen bases. I mean, going back in time, when would you ever think your leadoff hitter would have 0 stolen bases on the year on the last day of spring, June 20th? But the guy is coming in. He has a .359 on base percentage. He's constantly drawing walks, constantly working the count. Even if he doesn't get on base, he's going like 2-2, 3-2 on so many at-bats. 0.765 OPS. I mean, that's the type of guy right now that you like to have at the top of the order. It's just a shame with the Yankees right now. I mean, it's not really a shame because they're mashing the hell out of the ball, but you don't really have that true prototypical leadoff hitter at the moment.
The truth is the leadoff hitter for the hopefully October bound, or it should be this point, it has to be the October bound New York Yankees, might not be on the roster currently.
Right. And we'll definitely get into that more a little bit later. And of course, as we are moving closer to the MLB trade deadline, which obviously is at the end of July, we're going to have some shows where we're going to predict some of those trades that we want to see come to New York, whether it's going to the Mets, whether it's going to the Yankees. We'll have those full-scale trades. I think we may even start next week. So just stay tuned, obviously, for that and more. But, hey, Corey, what's the best way for our fans to be up to date with all the latest news here with Empire State Baseball?
Yeah, listen, ladies and gentlemen, you love to follow us. Again, go on Twitter. That's the absolute best way because we're going to keep hitting you with everything we got out there. Go to @ESB Podcast, and you can follow all of us individually. Myself at G Gory, Joe at JR Pugs, Rich at Rich J Rivera, and Mr. Waspil himself at T Waspil. I always say two because I see the two in front. T Waspil.
Two, man.
I always
go with the two. Holy shit.
Always go with the two. But what can I say? Follow us on Twitter. Give each of us an individual follow, and we'll make sure to give you all a shout out. But, ladies and gentlemen, we also have another team in town, and a team that last week there was a little bit of panic. Mets Twitter kind of overreacting maybe a little bit. Baseball World, ESPN Baseball on Sunday night last week saying, are the Mets panicking? Are the Mets getting scared? And really all it takes is a couple of days to help ease those tensions a little bit. Mets last week, again, winning 3 consecutive series. They won their weekend series last time out versus the Angels. They took 2 of 3 versus the Brewers. They had a win earlier this afternoon to take 3 of 4 from the Marlins. And the Braves, despite going on that hot stretch, 14 in a row through the National Series, actually lost their first 2 to the Cubs. Kind of helped stabilize the standings. You actually gained another game on them. So right now sitting at 6 games up at the moment on the Braves. I mean, Tom, what do you think? Was it a little bit of an overreaction by Mets Twitter last week?
I think so. I mean, we talked about the Braves were the hottest team in baseball. That they were going to lose. They're a good team. I don't think they're a great team. They're a team that they're one of those teams that last year, yes, they are the reigning champs, but everything came together. They made all these trades. It worked. The bullpen was crazy. Horace Soler went nuts in the playoffs. It was one of those situations where they're the champs, but I don't know if they're a great team. The Mets are a better team than the Braves. The Mets are the best team in the division, and they should continue winning. And it's all they just keep winning too, and they they haven't really hit a bad stretch yet, and they will at some point. Just like the Yankees, at some point you're gonna have a stretch where they go 500 over 2 weeks. But they've built that lead up. I think they're going to be fine. The Braves are coming back down to earth, and the Mets will probably stretch this lead out over the next couple weeks back to maybe 7-8 games.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. Rich, what are your thoughts?
Braves are reminding me a little bit right now of those 2019 Yankees with the next man up mentality. Ozzie Albies, of course, multiple-time All-Star second baseman, goes down with the fractured fractured foot, I believe. It's a big injury for them, and obviously part of their star-studded infield. And it seems like the Braves, with injury, just keep finding ways to win games with the guys they're calling up and bringing and giving major league jobs to. I mean, I'm seeing Orlando Arcia is batting in the 300s. You got Williams Contreras, who stepped into a role where he is either platooning with Travis d'Arnaud behind the plate or he's playing a bit of outfield. He's looked very good this season. Michael Harris II, another player who's trying to win some quick Rookie of the Year voting. I mean, the Braves are getting some help from guys that you wouldn't expect, much like what they did last year in the acquisitions with Peterson and Soler, as Tom just mentioned before, and Eddie Rosario. The Braves are just finding ways. You know who also is on this roster? I don't know if he's really contributing because I just found out today. Mike Ford. Mike Ford is on the Atlanta Braves, Tom.
Mike Ford,
yeah,
man.
Have fun with that. He's bounced around couple places this year. Oh, Marwin, you slow idiot. There's
Oh,
but listen, the bases loaded one out. Stupid Marwin. Anyway, Braves. Yeah, they do have that, but they do have a stretch right now. Starting tonight, I don't know what the score is right now. 4 against the Giants, 3 against the Dodgers. So there you go, Mets. They're going to go through that gauntlet. They get it at home. And let's see where we stand in a week after they deal with those, the world beating kind of teams out there.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see how it ends up. And right now, 1-0, still very early though. Top of the 4th out there in Atlanta with the Giants in town. But we'll see how it goes. I mean, the Braves, if you want to talk about cupcake schedules, like we have, and I know that was a big thing in last week's Yankee debate. The Braves had the definition of cupcake schedule. I mean, you went from bad team to dreadful team to AAA team. I mean, it was literally each time they had a matchup, the opponent got worse. Finally, the Cubs kind of said, "Whoa, let's slow down let's run." And the Cubs, ironically, it was a 10-game losing streak that ended up ending the 14-game winning streak. The Cubs got their first win in 11 games that time. But listen, a little bit of overreaction from Mets fans last week. The Mets are still doing solid. There's no June swoon because the ground that the Mets have lost ahead of the Braves, it's not because the Mets struggling. It's because the Braves won 14 in a row. The Mets, I think, have only lost 3 series all year. It's June 20th. The Mets have only lost 3 series all year. You really can't ask for much more than the New York Metropolitans are giving you this season. I am not worried. You're hoping that you're going to get some of the aces back soon. I know Scherzer got some good news. He actually has a rehab start tomorrow night, Scherzer, possibly coming back next Sunday versus the Marlins. DeGrom a little further along. We're probably looking at July, probably around All-Star break, I would figure, for DeGrom. But now you're getting Scherzer back. DeGrom is within a month, you hope. Things are going to be okay, Met fans. Take a deep breath. Things are going to be okay.
I mean, listen, you guys are going to, I think I mentioned it last week, you guys are going to essentially acquire 2 of the top 5 pitchers in the NL over the next couple months. And one of them you're going to probably get in a couple weeks. So, the Mets are a good team. They're a damn good team. They're going to be a team that no one's going to want to face in the playoffs, assuming Scherzer and DeGrom are healthy. Really can we give you those reminiscence of that 2001 Diamondbacks team with Schilling and Randy Johnson. Basically, the rest of that team was trash, but those 2 just mowed everyone down, including the Yankees in the World Series. That could be the kind of run that Mets rotation could put together, assuming, DeGrom comes back as DeGrom, and that's not a shot against him, but I'd have to look up how many innings he's pitched in the last, 4 years? It's probably not a lot. He's don't want to doubt him, but you do want to see it, for a little longer than just a couple starts.
Yeah, you gotta love free acquisitions at the trade deadline when you get these players that are coming off the IL. There's truly nothing like it. And to answer your question there, Tom, on DeGrom's innings pitch over the last 2 years, doing quick math right now, 68 and 92. What is that? 150? Maybe.
Yeah, roughly. Yeah.
Let's go with that. So I think
it was 3 years because he hasn't pitched a inning this year. Really? So 2.5 years.
Yeah. So it's 160. 160. I was off by 10. All right. So Jacob deGrom and Max Scherzer making their way back to this already great Mets rotation. I mean, they got a great spot out of David Peterson today.
Peterson, the 11th shutout by the Mets. Again, they're doing this without DeGrom. Scherzer's now missed exactly a month. I think he made his last start May 18th. It's now June 20th. 11 shutouts for the New York Metropolitans. Both New York teams getting great pitching. And actually, they made a minor league transaction today, but I do want to call it out because this guy used to be a Met killer when he was with the Braves, and that is Ender Inciarte on a minor league deal.
He was a spring trading reject we had this year.
Yeah,
there was.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, I'll never forget, man, when I think it was last year or a couple years ago, when he robbed them of a game-winning home run. Like, are you kidding me? That ball was clearly over the fence. He jumped up, caught it, robbed it, and the Mets would have won that game. And a funny comment in the chat. We got Alex in the chat here, again, a loyal follower. The Mets need to stay good so that my baby's father doesn't stress out in the hospital while I'm giving birth. Alex, I'll tell you what, it's going to be something if DeGrom is back on the day that you're giving birth, and all of a sudden, DeGrom's throwing a no-hitter, and you're on the operating table popping out a baby.
You gotta name that kid. You gotta name that kid Jacob.
Oh yeah, well yeah,
boy or girl.
Boy or girl, you go with Jacob. You find a way to make it work.
Absolutely. Looks like Rich either fell asleep or he's frozen. I feel like there's no way of knowing what it could be. You think he had a long day at work.
Yeah, it's been a long day for the Rivera man. But listen, Tom, we just turned a threesome into a duo right now. So it's me and you. If you guys like it, just listen to me and Tom as we're going to go at it one-on-one.
Gonna have our own show. We're just gonna, we got rid of Joe, and now we got rid of Rich. This is the new show.
Would it really be an ESP without my Wi-Fi cracking out? Like what? Like why? I'm gonna blame Joe. I'm blaming Joe. I'm blaming.
Yeah, he's probably like out there like snipping wires.
Yeah,
looks
seriously.
like that kind of guy to me.
Yep,
he's a real clown. Alrighty. Sorry guys, my bad.
No worries. Well, welcome back, Rich. Listen, we had to wait for you because I know you love this segment so much. But we got the Chooch's pick of the week, ladies and gentlemen. Bring that big boy up. I love to watch Dominka's pick.
I'm so happy you waited for me for this one. Let's go, Chooch.
What's up, ESB crew? Chooch is back with Chooch's pick of the week. And I got to say, I'm sorry, Mets fans, but I'm going this weekend. Astros at the Yankees, 4-game set, quite possibly an ALCS matchup for the ages. I think it's going to be big games this weekend. Heavy hitters, heavy pitchers coming in here. I think we're going to get a 2-game split. What do you guys think?
All right, we're back to talking about the Yankees again here. Picking up where we left off on the schedule. Matt's got the Yanks and Astros splitting these 4 games. Corey, how do you feel about Chooch's pick?
It's a very conservative pick. I don't think it's a bad pick. Yeah, I know. We got a couple conservative ones in a row.
Yeah, take the Braves over the Nationals last week. Good stuff, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, he's going with the split with the Yankees. And listen, the Mets play the Astros for 2 this week also. I hope the Mets split with them. I'll take 1-1. I mean, if you're a Yankee fan right now, you take 2-2 because that means you're still on a torrid pace in this stretch. But we'll see what happens. I'll go with the Chooch here on this one.
Yanks are taking 3 out of 4.
Whoa.
Yanks are taking 3 out of 4 because I felt like Tom's going to go with the split, and I need to change it up here. I feel confident in my team here. I think we're gonna match up well with a lot of the good Astros pitching, and the Astros pitching is elite this year. Verlander, Framber Valdez, and Luis Garcia really bolstered that staff. And what Verlander's doing in Houston this year, following Tommy John surgery, is absolutely incredible. It's going to be a great test for this Yankees team to face Justin, who, of course, we've had some bad luck against as long as he's been an Astro over these last couple of years, except for that one playoff game where Aaron Hicks took him ding-dong back I think in 2019.
Off the pole, right?
Yeah, that was nice. The one thing I actually will remember Aaron Hicks for doing that was actually good. But yeah, Astros and Yankees are going to match up well, but I'm going to go with the Yankees taking 3 out of 4 at home.
Not bad.
Listen, it's gonna be a test. It certainly is gonna be a test. I don't know what the pitching matchups are. I feel like that does a bit affect the pick. I would sign up for a split right now. You don't want to lose 3 or 4. Losing 3 or 4 feels devastating. A split is you kind of just wash your hands of it and you get out of there.
Yeah.
So I'll take the split, and I guess we'll have the real rubber game after that, because then you said there's some funky that's going on the schedule. They play Oakland, then they go to Houston for 1 game. So I guess that's really going to be the following Thursday will be the rubber game. And I'll say the Yankees will win that. So they'll win 5. They'll win 3 out of 2, just like if they have to play them in a division round, they'll beat them.
No, that's a good way. I look at it that way with the extra single game at the end of the stretch there, 3-2 over 5. I think that's fair. And I'm going to make a bold prediction myself with this series. I did say I'm going to go with the split. I'll go with the Chooch here. Chances are you're going to have both Cole and Cortez going against the Astros.
Cole's going tonight, so he's definitely going to be in tonight. So the one you won't get is whoever the Yankees are pitching Wednesday.
Yeah, whoever Wednesday starter is. But
that's going to be Sevy.
All right, cool. So I'm going to make a bold prediction here. In the split, you're going to have Cole get absolutely shelled in a loss, while Cortez is absolutely dominant in a win, leading to a debate. Who do you want pitching in game 1 of the playoffs?
Garrett Cole's the answer to that, probably. But
It should be, but
Yeah.
but it's just going to add some intrigue.
kind of hard.
It's a radio show.
I
Yeah,
mean, it's what you're paying the guy for. It's what you're paying the guy for. I mean, I didn't think we were going to get into this.
I think regardless of that, I think the important thing is if, the Yankees do get to October, you need to start. It needs to be Cole, then Nestor. You need to go righty, power fastball, just the filthiest, some of the filthiest stuff on the planet against Nestor, lefty, not throwing as hard, arm angles. Like, you want those back to back just to give teams a completely different look. That's, but again, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves.
I was
wrong again. Monty's who the Yankees will lose in the Astros series. I mean, looking at potential matchups here.
Seville pitched game 1. He pitched yesterday.
For the Stros, they're going to lose Luis Garcia. So you'll see Verlander, you'll see Framber Valdez, who've arguably been 2 of their best pitchers all season long. They're going to get, obviously, some combo of, let's see, we got Cole, Nestor, Monty. So we're going to probably see Tyone, Sevy, Cole, Nestor for those 4 games.
Okay.
I mean, if you're not getting Monty, that's what you're getting.
Unless they go in with some sort of spot starter to break up the straight games. I don't know if they're going to do that, though. I don't think they will.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. And I'm also curious to see if there's going to be any conversation around the softness of the Astros division, playing in the AL West, where they're the only team. And granted, doesn't mean they're not a good team, but they're the only team over 500. So they're playing a bunch of bad teams in their own division. It'll be. I think it's a big test for both of them. I think it's a big test for both teams just to see where are we, because these are the 2 teams you could say are on that collision course for the ALCS. Just like the Mets when they were in LA, thinking like this is the collision course for the NLCS. You want to see how you match up. Winning 3 out of 4 in this series for either team could really give a big boost of confidence later in October. Knowing, hey, if the Astros know, hey, we went into the Bronx when the Yankees were the best team in baseball and we won 3 out of 4, that they're going to be able to tap into that later. So, big series. Let's get the split and let's get out of here. But
yeah, definitely big series. Best 2 teams in the American League. It should be a fun one. But again, Chooch going with the 2-2 split. Next week, we got to take a look at the standings again, see how the Chooch is doing overall. And then we'll kind of take it from there. But anyway, if you like the Chooch's pick of the week, if you like any segment that we debate, especially some of the rants we've had the last few weeks, Rich, where could they go ahead and find those segments?
YouTube. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube page as our episodes get uploaded on a weekly basis. And obviously, we have some best of clips already up there from some past episodes. So make sure to subscribe. Empire State of Baseball. That's the name of our show, and that's our YouTube page as well. So go to YouTube and subscribe. It's the best way to catch the replays the next day when you're back at the office and it's Tuesday, arguably the worst day of the work week, and you just want to listen to something good, go to YouTube and listen to some episodes of Empire State of Baseball, especially this one because Joe's on this one. So it's a good episode. Tune in.
There you go.
All righty. We're going to move it all along to our newest segment here on Empire State of Baseball. It's called the Triple Play. Yes, there's 3 of us right now, turning it around the horn, but we're going to talk specifically about MLB Trade Deadline. And what's the Triple Play, you might ask, as far as our show's terms are concerned? I'm going to throw out a sentence, and it's the other host's job to finish the sentence. And obviously, the topic right now is the MLB Trade Deadline, as we are looming a bit closer to the big day in Major League Baseball. It's actually one of the my favorite day of the year when the trade deadline goes around. You've seen over the past couple of years some of the craziest deals go down last minute. So we're going to get into it. So again, the topic, MLB Trade Deadline. And we're going to start with this. And Tom, I want you to start here. We'll go Tom, Corey, then me with the first sentence. The New York Yankees, well, in our case, the New York Yankees should absolutely
sell out, sell the farm to improve this team at the trade
Damn.
deadline. I think we've talked about it all season. This is the best team in baseball currently, and they have some glaring holes in that lineup and the bullpen with some of the injuries. You need to do whatever you need to do. You don't necessarily need to trade Peraza, Dominguez, Volpe, Wachowski, or whatever. You don't need to trade. I'm not saying like literally your top 10, but you need to trade some of them, and you need to go out and get the pieces to cement yourself as the best team in the AL, to get yourself to that World Series, to deal with most likely dealing with a DeGrom Scherzer, or just dealing with whatever kind of nonsense the Dodgers are going to throw at you.
Yeah.
All right.
No, listen, I don't disagree there, man. You got to go all in. If there's any year to do it, this is the year to go all in.
Year.
So
Yeah,
I don't disagree.
I'll actually touch on Tom's point right there. I say the Yankees should absolutely acquire a center fielder. And I think, and this is kind of going back to the our whole bit with the leadoff spot. Finding somebody that can stay up in that leadoff position would be great. And if they can't get there and it's an internal piece, so be it. But I think the Yankees need to get Aaron Judge out of center field. And this is not a knock on Aaron Judge at all. He's played a fantastic center field. He's given you more than you probably expected. This is a guy who came up as a center fielder in the minor leagues and almost started to experiment it with. They almost experimented with him middle of last year, and it's worked out because you've seen Giancarlo Stanton get some more time in the outfield. And so it's nice to have that flexibility. But of course, with Judge's impending free agency and just the sheer risk of keeping him in center field, where there is a shot that, I mean, I'm not a betting man, but I would say he's got a better shot of risking an injury in center field covering all that ground than he does being more protected in a corner outfield spot like right field. I think the Yankees should go after a center fielder. Now, there's a few names I can toss out, but it'd probably spoil some good trade deadline talk for a little bit. Maybe a Brian Reynolds is out there. Who knows? But acquiring a center fielder would be a prime move for the Yankees. They should absolutely try to go after a center fielder. So, Corey, what should the Mets absolutely do?
It is all about the bullpen for the Mets this deadline, and I wouldn't even wait for the bullpen. You've got to go improve this bullpen ASAP. It honestly, in my opinion, is the only real weak link. Edwin Diaz in the closing role has been absolutely phenomenal. I love watching the guy pitch this year. His fastball is electric, hitting 102 the other night. His slider's looking awesome. I mean, he got Yelich swinging and missing to win the game last year on a nasty low and inside slider against a lefty. That was awesome. I don't really trust anyone else behind him, though. I mean, Drew Smith has done pretty good, and he's evolved into our setup man. Am I going to trust Drew Smith in a tie game in the NLCS if they make it that far? Absolutely not. Seth Lugo, the guy is, I don't know what happened to him. He completely fell off a cliff. They need to not get one. They need to get multiple relievers. And if I'm the Mets, they should absolutely get two relievers, a righty and a lefty, and let's roll. That's really the two pieces that they need, is improve that bullpen both on the left and the right side.
Yeah, and over time, you've seen those kind of moves made for those teams that are knocking on the door of being World Series contenders. I've said it on the show multiple times and in the past shows as well. You build a team in the offseason to get you to this point of the year. And if your team is in a good spot, you now build a team that's going to get you into the World Series and win the thing. And you've seen moves made over time. And obviously you keep with New York. We remember that 2016 trade deadline where the Yankees sent off Andrew Miller to Cleveland and Aroldis Chapman to Chicago, and they met each other in the World Series. So you're going to see moves like that made, obviously high leverage relievers on the move. And yeah, for the Mets, we put a poll in. We put a poll in on Instagram saying what should the Mets get at the trade deadline, and the only two choices were relief pitching and relief pitching. So they need a bullpen. I could not agree more.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's all about the bullpen. I don't think a single Mets fan would disagree. I'm looking in the chat here. I'm seeing a lot of bullpen chatter for the Mets. Comment right up now. Jay Hertz, 12 22. Forget Cole. Lugo is the real poster child of the sticky stuff, and he is not wrong. Lugo has not been good since the halfway point of last year, and we all know what happened at the halfway point of last year when the sticky stuff became a big discussion point.
Listen, I would also say for the Mets, my point for the Yankees, I think also stands for the Mets. The Mets are in that position where they need to do whatever they can to improve this team. Not that they're a bad team, but if you can go out and get a guy that's going to improve your team and maybe that's going to hurt you down the road, you need to go and do that, because these teams, it's truly going to be an arms race in New York at the end of July. And the Mets needs to do the same thing, where they need to mortgage some of those future years. This team's too good to not improve it to really give you that best shot to win it all in October.
Yep,
right.
100%.
Tom,
right there
we're going to go to number 2 here. The New York Yankees won't do it, but should.
I think the Yankees should go out and get the best reliever on the market and add it to that bullpen. I don't think they will, because I think the market for those top end relievers, especially with a team like the Mets, who will give up probably anything that they can to get that those top guys. I think the Yankees should be in that conversation at the very least to drive the price up for other teams. I mentioned it last year with the Braves. Their bullpen was nuts. Night shift last year to really bring them to that World Series. I think the Yankees need to do the same thing with Chad Green going out. Who knows what Chapman's going to be like when he gets back? Who knows what Loizaga is going to be like when he gets back? There's guys in this bullpen now who are not going to sniff the bullpen in the playoffs. There's guys in this rotation that are probably going to be in the bullpen in the playoffs. But I would just keep building on it and allowing guys, if you need to get, Cole, listen, you don't need to maybe give us 7-8 innings in the playoffs. You give us 5 and you unload it and you're throwing over 100 for those innings, and you allow the Yankees to go get, if a Josh Hader is available, and you say, just do it.
Pipe dream.
Do it. And
why would you trade for a Josh Hader?
I think that you need to the bullpen, like we've seen it year after year, it helps you win playoff games.
They don't need relievers in that regard. They don't need a full-blown closer that's going to cost you an Anthony Volpe type player.
They need to do whatever they need to do whatever they
because the Mets could be a team that could use him more. I don't think this Yankee team could use a Josh Hader.
I think they could. Listen, but you have games back, you have games tight in a row. You want to give guys rest. I would do, again, whatever. I don't think they're going to do this. I think the cost of those top end relievers, I don't know if Hader's going to move. The Brewers are still in first place, so then the trade their all world closer would be pretty silly. But whatever those guys are out there, I think you do it. The Yankees have had a lot of success in recent years of going out and getting a Clay Holmes. They can, although Wandy Peralta had a bad outing yesterday, to kind of pick those guys out from teams that they think have promise and they can really turn them into A+ relievers. But yeah, I'll take it. Just keep building that arsenal in the bullpen.
All right. Well, I agree with you to the point where I think another reliever or two in that bullpen, especially a veteran reliever, would be nice to split up with some of the younger guys in there. And I think, is it Licky who's the oldest reliever in that bullpen right now?
Probably Licky Chapman when he gets back.
Right.
But you have to think about what's
somebody
left.
Who's going to be cheap, like an Alex Colomé or like a Archie Bradley, like those kind of.
Do you want Alex Colomé pitching in the 7th inning in the ALCS?
But the Yankees shouldn't be getting Josh Hader when it's not necessarily a need. If it was a need, yeah, absolutely, I'd say so.
The Yankees have a need, and that's to win a World Series, and they need to do whatever they can to improve that team to get to that point. Do they need Josh Hader? No. Do the Mets need that level of player? Yes, they do. But that's why I don't think the Yankees are going to do it. But I think it's a market that you see what the best available out there is, and you go try to get it. And I feel like Joe right now, and I've really kind of monopolized this conversation. So let's kick it to Corey to talk about Cleveland.
All right, Corey, I'll lead it up for you, bud. The New York Mets won't do it, but should
improve the starting pitching. And it's hard for me to say that as good as the starting pitching has been. But I'm going to say a couple of things. One, you could never have enough starting pitching.
It's true.
What if DeGrom doesn't come back? What if Carrasco is unhealthy again like he was last year? What if Taijuan Walker puts up another 5.5 ERA after the deadline like he did last year? You're going to go into the playoffs. I mean, granted, you'll have Scherzer. I'm confident in Scherzer. I have no issues that he's going to be fine and ready. He looks like he's over this oblique injury. What happens if Carrasco also gets hurt? I mean, the guy had some injury problems last year. He was not the same guy. Granted, this year he looks great. If Walker struggles, and Bassett has kind of been a little shaky. You know, he's been a little better his last 2 starts. I know he got the loss Sunday, but it's not so much his fault. They left him out there to dry a little bit in the 7th inning. If DeGrom doesn't come back and 1 or 2 of those things happen, then I start to worry. David Peterson today pitched great, went to the 6th inning with a shutout. I do not want David Peterson starting a wild card game for me. I'm sorry. Trevor Williams, not a bad swing man. He could start a doubleheader for me once in a blue moon. He is not starting a playoff game. I'm sorry. It doesn't have to be an ace, but I do want to make sure that this has a healthy rotation and you're throwing out major league quality arms every night. I'm not saying trade the farm for an ace, but round it out. Make sure you're going in with a healthy 5 because you never know what could happen.
Yeah. That makes sense to me.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think with the Mets in getting a starter, you're not really trying to acquire a starter who's pitching game 2 for you, but you do want to keep shoring up that rotation to get that number 1 seed. You know, we've talked about the strength between the AL and the AL and the NL. The NL is stronger. Like I don't think there's really any hiding that. The Mets have a lot harder road. Anyone who comes out of the NL is going to have a harder road to the World Series. And you want to make sure that we've talked about being those top 2 teams, and you want to be that top 1 if you can, because you want to have that game 7 at home. So, yeah, to avoid a Trevor Williams pitching an important game in September, if you go out and get a quality 3 or 4 guy, a guy who maybe you say, listen, in the playoffs, we kick you to the bullpen. It really kind of solves 2 issues for the Mets. Exactly. I think that is a great move that they could make depending who's available and the price of it.
I have a guy, Corey, and maybe it's going to be a spoiler to what's to come for some of our shows coming up. But how about Martin Perez for the Texas Rangers?
That is not a bad pick, and it actually plays because he's a lefty too, right, Perez?
Mm-hmm.
Because I was just going to say, I would actually prefer if they're going to make that type of move, make it a lefty, because outside of David Peterson, all these guys are righties for the Mets, and it solves another need in the bullpen, like Tom just said, and you got another lefty arm out there. You know, you need a couple big outs in the 6th inning, and you don't want to burn your best lefty reliever. Go out to one of your 5th starters who's not going to start in the postseason.
Perez, by the way, having a career season. Season. 2.10 ERA, and that's in 13 games pitched, 81 innings, struck out 65. So the numbers are there for a guy who could be that swing pitcher for them, and a great emergency option if you're right. If DeGrom goes down again, if Scherzer's not right, injury history with Cookie Carrasco, as you just mentioned, could be a good option for the New York Metropolitans.
Yeah, definitely a short sample size, but he, in his 2 career playoff appearances, very bad. But it's 2 appearances. I don't know how much you really could put into that. I think really being on a team that is as good as, what the Mets are this year, or, the Yankees this year, if you do out and go acquire a starter to say, listen, we're going to need to kick you to the bullpen because you're going to need to get some outs in the playoffs. I think guys are going to be, ready for that and excited to be a part of, like a history making team.
Yep.
Yeah. Last one, and I'm gonna take this one from the rip. So our third part of our triple play, the New York Yankees should avoid acquiring a catcher. Now, if you're with us a few weeks ago on the show when we did our confidence rankings, boys, where do I rank the catcher position in my confidence rankings?
Oh, it was right there at the bottom, I believe.
It's at the bottom.
Yeah.
And had nothing to do with defense, and nothing to do with the camaraderie with the pitchers. It had everything to do with offense. And since then, Jose Trevino has been incredible with the bat. Kyle Higashioka has ran to a couple. But again, I'm not even going to go to offense. What Higashioka and Trevino have been doing for this team as battery mates to their pitchers, keeping those starters in check, and with their great defense, it's a value that this team hasn't seen in some time. The Yankees should stand pat with what they have. I get the appeal with somebody like Wilson Contreras. I'm a Wilson Contreras fan myself. I was somebody at the beginning of the year who wanted Wilson Contreras on this team. I think the Yankees should just avoid going after a catcher and just stand pat with what they have right now, because what they have right now is great with those two. But it's going to be something that's obviously talked about as soon as we get closer to the trade deadline.
That's true. And listen, the job they've done with that pitching staff, I mean, why would you want to throw a random guy back there? And maybe it was addition by subtraction when you got rid of Gary Sanchez. I know there was a lot of complaints about Sanchez behind the plate. He's off the team, and look what's happening now. Again, you don't have an all-star catcher back there, but your pitching staff is playing out of this world.
Yep.
I agree. I think center field, if you're going to upgrade a spot, is more of the priority for the Yankees over the catching spot right now.
Yeah. Tom?
Oh, first, I want to take the moment to address Junior Pugs 88 in the chat. Why would Hader be available? Listen, I said he probably wouldn't be available. He's the name that keeps getting thrown out there as like the big name that could move at the deadline. I know, listen, we're one day after Father's Day. I feel like I am kind of Joe's father on the show, really showing him the way and, really picking and making up for his mistakes. So, I want to explain why we kept mentioning Hader, because he's always on the list for those guys. What's our last question? I'm sorry, I got a little.
Oh yeah, I'll say up here. The New
Junior
York
out there.
Yankees should avoid.
New York Yankees should avoid having IKF as their starting shortstop going into the postseason.
Wow.
I think it's an area we've talked about. Yes, is he hitting for a decent average?
Just praise the guy too.
Is he hitting for a decent average? Yes. Does he get on base a lot? No. Has his defense been good? Honestly, not really. If you look at it seems like he continuously gets these routine-ish plays that should be errors that aren't errors. He should have another handful of errors on the season. He really hasn't been great. I don't know what that answer is. Now, we talked about selling the farm to make this team better. Listen, if one of those farm pieces are better, if you say, listen, Peraza, you're up. Volpe, that would probably be a big jump for Volpe. I know both of them started slower this year, but have been hitting much better in the minors as of late. I don't think you can have that guy starting. Now, listen, he's a good player off the bench. He plays a lot of positions. He can run the bases. He can put the ball in play. I just don't love him. I'm starting to get that little bit of worry when the ball's hit to him at shortstop, and it's possibly the most premium position in baseball defensively, that he's gonna make the play, and that's not something you want in the postseason. So I would see what you can do to avoid that from being the case.
Look at that. We have Rich wanting IFK
Crazy.
batting leadoff. We have Tom wanting him off the roster.
It's like we're looking at two different players. It's crazy. I feel good with IKF.
Listen,
What
I would do is I think he plays a role in this team. Essentially, Marvin Gonzalez, before grounded out with the bases loaded. IKF can be in that role, a very utility player. He maybe can't play as many positions as Marvin can, but a solid guy who can move around. Marwin, probably not going to be on a postseason roster, and you have a better shortstop in the lineup and in the field.
Marwin probably wouldn't be on the team at all if we're in a situation where IKF's hitting the bench. Well, I don't know who's playing that shortstop position, but you gotta move somebody off, and unfortunately, I think Marwin would be that guy.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. And real quick, before we go to the Mets part here, we do realize that the Yankees have a no-hitter right now in the bottom of the sixth inning.
Oh, there you go, calling it out.
Twitter
fans are mad at Corey.
Going to be no way. Right now. There's going to be. Listen, that's Garrett Cole can't hear us, so that's pointless. Although G-Man Choi is up, so he also could tie the game right now. There's no way Cole's going to finish this game. He's already at 92 pitches in the sixth, so it could be one of those. Combined. It's not going to be happening, but
the New York Mets should avoid.
New York Mets should avoid, and John in the chat here right now is really going to hate me. I'm going to say avoid upgrading the offense. All right. I actually really like the way this Mets offense is constructed right now. I think you have a really unique bond with this team. Leading off, we said before, Brandon Nimmo is your prototypical leadoff hitter in the modern era with the high walks, high on base percentage, contact guy, working the count. Marte, pure athlete out there in right field. Lindor having a nice season right now. He's on pace for 110 RBIs. I mean, the guy's killing it. Alonso might be the MVP. And then you look at the rest of the lineup. McNeil's back to his old self, hitting over 300. And you go down the list. Again, really the only weak spot right now with the Mets is also catcher, ironically, just like what you said before. And I don't want to upgrade the catching spot because you have arguably, depending if you're talking to a Met or a Yankee fan, the number one prospect in baseball right now is a catcher. So unless you're getting a guy who's a short-term improvement, a 1 or 2 year type player to bridge the gap to Alvarez, and they're not going to do it. I like the way McCann calls a game. I like him behind the plate. Granted, he wasn't really hitting well before he got hurt. Nito's actually looked a little better with the bat lately, but I do not upgrade this offense. I really like the way they have it constructed. I think the team gets along very well. Escobar had his struggles, but he is a phenomenal clubhouse guy. The team loves playing with Escobar, and he's actually been a little better the last few weeks too. So I'm going to roll with it. I am not going to get rid of the farm like you did last deadline, getting rid of a top 5 prospect in your org for a short-term improvement at second base that ended up, not panning out at all. I keep the team the way it is. Focus on the bullpen. Go all in on the bullpen. Get another 4 or 5 starter just as a security safety net and run with it.
Yeah, I think we could say, just to wrap this up, I mean, between two teams, the Mets have a glaring hole that needs to be addressed with the bullpen. Without a doubt. I mean, I don't know. The Yanks, you can make an argument for a couple of things, but the Mets, without a doubt, have a glaring need there. And you guys are going to see over the next few weeks, as we're going to come up with some trade deadline predictions, some actual trades that we think might happen over the next month. So it's going to be a lot of fun to get into that. As we get into our last bit, Corey, let's do the wraparound here. What's the best way to follow us on everything?
Best way to follow us everywhere possible. Again, at Empire State of Baseball on the Instagram app, at ESB Podcast on Twitter. And again, subscribe on Twitch and YouTube. The best way to follow us is to do the subscription on Twitch. You're going to get a notification like I have right here on my phone. If you can see my phone right now, right there, you're going to get that as soon as we go live. And that's very important because we do have a few scheduling announcements and you don't want to miss those either. Episode 14. This is not next week, the week after. Because Monday is the 4th of July, we're going to have the show Tuesday, July 5th at 8 p.m. And if you want to make sure you don't miss it, you'll get that notification on your phone if you follow us on Twitch.
Yeah.
And again, 2 weeks after that, we have the All-Star game Monday night. We want to beat or is it the Home Run Derby?
We want to beat the Home Run Derby.
Home Run Derby, is Monday night. We don't want to conflict with that, so we're going to start an hour early, 7 p.m. That'll be a fun show. We'll go through some predictions, some sort for the Derby.
Yeah, a lot of good predictions for that one. That'll be a lot of fun, and I'm assuming a Chooch's pick of the day is coming for the Home Run Derby Monday. So
that would only be fitting.
We have to get him to do a Chooch's pick of the Derby.
Yeah,
absolutely. We'll definitely get that and more.
Chooch's biggest. I want the Chooch's biggest dong of the Derby.
Biggest dong of the Derby. All right.
Yeah.
And we have to predict how far that dong is gonna go.
You can take that any way you want. We just need Chooch's biggest dong of the Derby.
All right. Tom, it's guess the graph time. What ball do you have for us today?
Let's see. I think we pull it up here. Another situation. Whoa. I made it bigger this time. I know Rich, you threw basically a fit last time.
Yeah, good shit.
Too small because you
couldn't be a professional, buddy.
Because you're technologically illiterate. So I had to make it bigger for you. I did have to cross out a number here for you. I think this is a tough one. I'm gonna be honest. This is a tough one.
Yeah, this guy's autograph kind of looks like a dick.
Listen, this could be Chooch's biggest dong of the Derby.
I was about to say we just went from a dong talk over to this. Oh boy, that's what it's come down to. Well, when you get a threesome, we talk about dongs.
I'm gonna assume it's 2 initials. Damn.
I would say that's accurate. To be fair, I couldn't tell you for sure. I know who it is.
Because I could say it's an S, I could say it's a K, I could say it's a B. I'm just like, I see 3 different letters there.
A few different things going on. My first instinct was S on that first one.
Just an 86.
Yeah, 86. I now all I see is
I
86.
just wrote his number really big. I'm 86.
Oh boy. I don't even know where to. This is tough. I really don't even know where to guess.
Tom, affiliate to the Yankees, Mets, or not?
Yankees.
All right.
Yep.
Yankees affiliate. Okay.
Let's see. What do I want to give you here?
Gary Hairston Jr.
No. This is a active Major League Baseball player.
There we go.
Active player affiliated
Active
with
player.
the Yankees doesn't have to be a current Yankee though.
Could be, doesn't have to be though.
Oh,
Okay.
man. Not looking at the chat.
Is that a junior at the end? Is that a R? Or is that just
A squiggly line.
yeah, squiggly line below
I don't think it's a junior.
It actually looks like how like a kid would like draw a bird like in the background. Like a bird in the distance.
Is it Greg Bird?
A beautiful bird. Is it
No,
Greg
it is not. It is not Greg Bird. It is not. That would be good. Greg Bird's signature. It's just a bird. And this person is also not a junior.
Okay.
Let's see. All right. We just talked about. I feel like you keep talking about Chooch's big donga here. This is a guy who's participated in a home run derby.
Ooh, participated in
Tino.
a derby.
It was not Tino. I said current active player.
Oh, you did say current active player.
Active player has participated in a derby. At least one. Maybe multiple. I feel like it's probably multiple, but it's at least one.
Is it El Gary?
It is not El Gary. Oh, I love Gary. I miss him.
I miss Gary.
You're
Not
pitching
for
left,
anything but his bat. Not for anything but the dongs he used to hit.
Oof.
We do have some guesses in the chat, but I'm not looking at the chat. I just see the thing blipping.
Yeah, well, one's JD Martinez. We know that one's not correct here. Actually, Joe also thrown out the Greg Bird, so he's right in line with us with the Bird guess there. Let's see. I want to.
You wouldn't just throw in AJ. I don't even know if you have Judge's signature.
This is interesting because it was a former Derby participant, and he may or may not be a current Yankee.
And he didn't even save it for the Derby Monday.
He may or may not be a current Yankee. That is also, it's one or the other. That's for sure.
All right, then I'm gonna throw this out. I'm gonna go with Giancarlo Stanton.
It is not Giancarlo Stanton.
Also participated in the Derby.
Has participated in the Derby. This is also we talked to some Derby, we talked to trade deadline. This is someone who has been moved at the trade deadline before.
All right, so it's not Judge.
Not Judge.
I'm just now thinking of specific home run derby people. Oh shit. Joey Gallo.
It is Joey Gallo.
Joey Gallo.
Joe's
participated in last year's derby.
He did participate in last year's derby, traded to the Yankees at the trade deadline. I'll be honest, for one of my what should the Yankees do, but they won't, mine was going to be DFA Joey Gallo. I was trying to just avoid talking about him throughout the episode, just not to plant the seed in your guys' head. Yes, that is hopefully future DFA candidate Joey Gallo. You can't have Joey Gallo on your team and pinch hit for him with Jose Trevino and think that he's going to be on your team in the postseason. No matter how good Jose Trevino has been this year, that is like unbelievably, like you could have less confidence in a player.
I will say though, having Gallo in the ninth inning, I feel like when he does get a hold of one, it's like, oh, all right, that's what you got him for. But when he strikes out, it's like, all right, what's a number 9 hitter striking out? Like it is what it is. Like I'm glad they're finally come to their senses and not put this guy in the top half of that batting order. You need him in the bottom third. Maybe that number 9 spot's great for him. Just least amount of at bats. If he gets into one, great. If he doesn't, whatever. It's a number 9 hitter striking out.
Exactly. Well, anyway, I know we are a few minutes over the hour mark here, but again, everyone, thank you again for tuning in. It was a threesome today, but it was always fun to have a threesome with you gentlemen.
Before we go, I said I'm going to dedicate the end of the show to O's talk. Talking about how waiting for the countdown for Junior Pugs to be wearing that jersey. O's last week, very tough. The same schedules the Yankees played the Blue Jays and played the Rays. Split a 4-game set with the Blue Jays. Took 2 out of 3 from the Rays. My O's are hot, and they want to see Junior Pugs in a slimming pinstripe jersey.
That'll be
No
something.
birds.
There you go. Tom thanking the O's to end the show. I'm also going to thank a bottom feeder. I'm thanking the Cubs, man. Mentioned at the start of the show. They had a 10-game losing streak and finally not only put an end to the Braves' 14-game win streak, but actually won the series. So thank you, Cubs. Rich, who do you got to thank on this fine evening?
I got to thank my Bombers, of course. And you know what? Let me throw it out to my pops. Happy belated Father's Day once again. Dad, thank you for making me a Yankee fan. Love you.
There you go.
If not, you could be a loser.
Gotta say thank you to all the dads out there. Not a loser, because I like the Mets. I'm not a loser.
I didn't say that. I mean, listen, he could have made you a Reds fan.
That
would be talk shit about Jack.
That would be really bad. But anyway, you got a 2-0 game right now. No hitter for the Yankees in the 7th. Atlanta's up 1-0 on the Giants in the 7th. We'll see how these games end up. But until next time, everyone, take care.